just gonna collect some money.
Is Cowboys a real bar?
Yeah. No, it's real hard. Used to be over, it's where the Marsh Sharp is right now. Joke park.
Oh, it's
Joke
and
park.
then that was like a bar fight there back in '89.
Yeah, I believe it. It's a flat piece of concrete now.
I don't know what happened to it.
It was the real deal. It was like a 4th and Q.
Yeah, right.
There was a,
There was that Taco Village there.
no, it wasn't the town country shop. It wasn't that.
I used to party on the floor.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But now has it reopened someplace else?
No,
It's completely gone.
it's gone.
That's why I was gonna buy some.
That might be.
I'm just going to the only.
Have we get a bar for it?
Yeah, that's what we got Wednesday. We got Wednesday. It's at St. Joseph's Catholic Church. Chances are, and the Matt Wells radio show. I'm pretty sure I was the only one. Pretty sure.
Which order did you go?
St. Joseph Catholic Church.
You probably should have.
Got to check on them first.
He goes there and gets money.
Yeah, I was there about money. Chances are, that's the money there.
You didn't. Oh, okay. I was gonna say you spent a little money.
And then I spent a little money at Riggs.
You didn't spend the money from the church.
No. Yeah.
We'll start with opening statements from Coach, and then we'll jump into questions.
Okay, well, certainly first thing I want to say is happy with the crowd, thankful for the crowd. They helped us win it at the end. Thanks for staying at the end. And that was a big stand there at the very end. The other thing that I would be remiss not to talk about is just 9/11 and the importance of that day and the significance of that day upon us. And, I know America is fighting since then. When we wore Luke's shirts today, again, representing Luke's fight and honoring Luke Siegel in this game. And I think, I think you can say that we did fight at the end. And, in a game that you're not real crisp and not real, didn't play very well on offense, to just tell you like it is, we handed them things. And that was one of the things that we talked about all week, and we certainly did not do it. And we gave them cheap scores and cheap points, one off a fumble, one off a fumbled punt. The other one was a quarterback fumble, and then the pick six on a miscommunication. You can't do that and hand teams 13 points. Doesn't matter who they are. Credit to SFA and Coach Carthel, Self, Gibson. Those two guys are good players, and they'll have a good team. And I was proud of our guys finding a way to win at the end. Defense certainly has played with their back against the wall and played a lot of the game. And so, again, proud of our players' fight. We found a way to win. It's hard to win. And you look back at last weekend in college football, 5 teams lost or 6 teams lost in this kind of same scenario. 5 of them were just like us, and you escape with a win. You learn from it. We're coachable. We all learn from it, coaches and players, and we certainly, I think the key is that and moving on. But, again, proud of our players in the fight at the very end of the game especially. So.
We'll start with questions.
Yeah, Coach, looked like early in the first half, early in the second half when you came out, you did a really good job of establishing the run between the tackles. Looked like you were really gouging them that way. But then for some reason it appeared to me that you kind of got away from that and got distracted from that, and the offense started sputtering a little bit. Could you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, good point. They started adding guys into the box and blitzing, and we couldn't pick it up in terms of the run game and adding an extra guy into it. And they got us. They got us for a little bit, and we didn't execute. Popped a couple runs there in the third quarter where we did fit it up, and they brought pressure on one of those, and we fit it up nicely. But it wasn't really clean in terms of the passing game. And so I think that, when you start looking at the running game and trying to find ways to run it better, we need to do that better. But we certainly didn't do it. It's a good point. But, they did a nice job of mixing that pressure up, and we didn't handle it very good.
You mentioned the muff punt. Mannix had a hard time just fielding the ball, it seemed like, just to stop it from rolling beyond just the muff. What's going on with the punt return game?
We need to get better at that, Jarrett. Yeah, it's a good question, fair question. We certainly didn't perform. That wasn't real clean. It certainly wasn't.
Tyler Chuck played mistake-free in the first game, and then this game obviously had some turnovers. What was going on with him?
Well, it's hard to say what's going on with him. I just don't think it wasn't real clean. Just like I said in the opening statement, it was a mix of some drop balls. It was a mix of a couple of miscommunications with him and the receivers. There was some pressure, a little bit all the way around. I wouldn't put it all on 12, but it wasn't clean on offense. And I'll take I'll take the blame for that. And I think we all will. That anybody that has a hand in the offense, but it wasn't clean, and it wasn't our best.
Go back over here to Ryan.
Coach, I know you'd mentioned the running game and whatnot. And Brooks was obviously a big part of it, but how did Xavier really help out with some of those long runs to set up? Like I know Brooks touched on, he had a couple runs down the field. And what kind of steady presence did he bring to the running back position to really get you guys going?
Yeah, both those guys ended up finding some creases there in the third quarter. and that obviously provided a spark to get us back in the lead, and then to extend the lead to 2 scores. He was there and he made some good plays.
Coach, can you speak to the fourth down stop there at the end, and then after that, some of the issues you guys had? What were they doing right, I guess, on fourth down? I think they converted 5 of them tonight.
Yeah, they did. I know twice we lost contain of the quarterback. A couple of them were 4th and inches. Certainly that last one was the biggest.
You mentioned McLean. I saw him leave. Was he injured on one of those punt returns, or is he?
I don't know if it was a punt return that he was, but he left the game and didn't return. And I'll know his status a little bit more tomorrow, but he was certainly out the rest of the game.
It seemed like we talked about it on Tuesday. You didn't need to pass that much in that game, and Eric had most of the receptions. It seemed like he was the majority of the receptions tonight. What were they doing to prevent you guys to get the balls to other receivers?
Yeah, I think we do need to spread it around. We need to get the tight ends involved. We did not get them involved early in the game, and we need to get them as well as some of the other guys. We had some schemed up touches for some of the other guys, and it was just we got it taken away. And like I said, the whole passing game just wasn't as clean as we need it to be, and we need to do a better job.
Also, Coach, I know we talked about the front 7 a lot just throughout the offseason and whatnot. The D-line, how much were they speeding up the game for SFA and just making, not letting clean pockets? He was having to roll out a lot and just speeding up their process.
Yeah, certainly coming off the field, it feels like the D-line was a major positive force for us, especially late in the game, and I think you saw their conditioning probably come out a little bit. We started playing behind the line of scrimmage and pressuring the quarterback, and they did. They showed up pretty good in the fourth quarter.
You mentioned, of course, that fight that you love to see, but how beneficial is it, for these first 2 games? It sort of be kind of tough when you guys going through a tough season.
Yeah, I just coming off the game, I don't know in terms of beneficial. I know this, when you get in a close game and you get in a fight like that, it's good to win it. And it's good to see guys step up and make plays, especially at the end. I think certainly what put us in that will be what we break down. And I've already said it. It's handing them those turnovers. You give up 4 turnovers and you don't gain any, you probably shouldn't win the game. But you played good on defense, and there's going to be games where you don't play as well on defense, and the offense needs to really step it up. Tonight was one of those nights that I thought we played pretty well on defense for the most part. And they, I think the 2 turnovers, it seems like they were in about inside the 30, and we forced field goals. And difference in the ball game right there.
Matt,
Yes, sir.
You mentioned a moment ago the job the defensive line did, particularly late, but Jalen in particular, after his 1st and goal at the 8, had a tackle for loss, a sack, gave chase on a 3rd down play, and then was in the pocket again on the 4th down play. Did you have what did you say to him after the game? Or what would you say just about what he did down after down after down on that last sequence, particularly given that he had that personal foul on the same series?
Yeah, I think he wanted to make up for that a little bit. He was certainly inspired. And, like I said, I think his strength, the conditioning in the game certainly showed up. And Jalen was a force, absolutely on those last few plays.
Dadrian Taylor-Demerson showed out there on a few plays in a row. And I was curious, was he in because
Eric Monroe was out for a little while and Fry was out for a little while. Yes, sir.
What did you think of the job he did?
I think Rabbit flashed a few times. He did a nice job in man coverage. He came off one time and made a big play over there on the far sidelines, and it was his first action, obviously being out in the Houston game, but good to have him back.
How would you evaluate the offensive line play overall?
Well, we didn't run the ball very well, and there were times we didn't protect. So we'll go back. I'll watch the tape. I'll have a better answer for you probably tomorrow night or Monday whenever we talk. But we got to be able to run the ball. That goes back to Joe's first question. We didn't run the ball very well.
Coach, it'd probably be easy to say that your team overlooked this team, but would you speak really to the effort that you saw from Stephen F. Austin and what they put on the field tonight and how those kids played?
Can you rephrase the beginning of it?
Sure. Would you talk about how Stephen F. Austin's effort impacted the ball game tonight and what you saw from them?
Well, we certainly anticipated them playing with good effort and energy, and they did. But again, I go back and in a game where you have to match that early in the game when you know that that's coming, we can't hand them things. And we did that. They stayed in, and then they played well. And again, credit goes to them. And respect that program, and I think they did a nice job. And so my hat's off to them, credit to them. But again, credit to our guys for finding a way to win it at the end when we did not play very well, especially on offense and special teams there early in the game.
You have any other questions for Coach? We'll go back to Ron and finish it out.
Obviously, it's still early in the year, but someone mentioned on the sideline, even, with this being a one-point game and late in the fourth quarter, it didn't seem as if it was a one-point game. I'm sure it did for you guys, but do you feel like the mentality has changed of the team, when they're in those tight games later in the game? Compared to last year?
Well, we don't want to get down at halftime like we've put ourselves in that hole the last 2 weeks. But you are proud, and I can recognize the things that we've done good is to fight to get back into both games so far this year and find ways to win and hang on at the end in a little bit different fashion. Got all the turnovers last week and then hit some explosives on offense. Didn't have the explosives on offense today and didn't get the turnovers on defense, but find a way to grind it out. We'll celebrate being 2-0. We absolutely will. But I think the mindset of these guys hopefully will be that we're going to be coachable. We're going back to work, and we got to find ways to improve and find a way to win next week. And we want to be undefeated in our non-conference. That was something we've talked about. We're 2-0. One more to go, and then we hit the Big 12. So I think the key is to continue and to improve, but we'll never apologize for a win. And I'm happy with those guys. I really am. And so obviously we need to get off to a better start, and we need to start fast. At the beginning of the next week's game. We put ourselves in a 2-touchdown hole against Houston, 1-touchdown hole this week, and we can't keep doing that.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay.
We'll have Tyler Chuck and Jalen Hutchinson in just a second. Start with Don with questions.
The last sequence there at the end, they get first and goal at the 8, and you have tackle for loss, sack, gave chase on a 3rd down play. You're in the pocket on the 4th down play. What was kind of your going through your mind, or was your adrenaline like at that point?
Well, I just knew earlier that series I got the face mask, and Coach took me off the field, and I knew that was a critical error because it kept the drive going. And I just had to feel like I had to make a way to bring our team back into the game because I knew that I cost us pretty bad, and I just had to feel like I had to redeem myself. So that's the only thing that was on my mind when I came back in the game.
For either one of you guys, how happy are you with the victory versus disappointed or frustrated that you had to make a stop at the end to hold off an FCS team?
I think, like Coach was saying, you celebrate any win you can get. They're hard to come by. I feel like the opponent, even though they're AA, I feel like a win's a win. I mean, you just got to take when they come.
Jalen, I know the Coach Wells talked about the condition of the D-line really showing up in the fourth quarter. How did you see that really come into play and factor in winning this game throughout the whole second half?
I think it came into play for sure. I feel like coaches make our Tuesday, Wednesday practice hard as all get out. They have us pushing prowlers, going back, doing team reps. So they condition practice to be harder than the game. So I feel like our training came into play for sure.
And Tyler, actually, same for you, since I know it's not your side of the ball, but getting to watch them and just some of the stops they had late there. What did you really see with them?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, you see it, like you said, you see it in practice. They're always running. I think they're probably the most conditioned group on the team, just the amount of time that they spend on the field, just working, grinding through practice, and it shows up on Saturday nights as well. So we got to be better. We can't have 3 and outs. We can't have short drives that put them on the field for such a long time. So that's on us as an offense, and we're definitely going to keep working on that. There's just definitely a sense of urgency.
Now for you specifically, Tyler, and I guess the offense as a whole, how do you evaluate this game? I know we're only 2 weeks in, but how do you evaluate comparing the 2 games?
All right. I mean, you take it and learn from it. There's some mistakes that we had that were critical, especially on my part. There's some things that we would like to have back. On that first pick six, it was just a simple miscommunication. Eric was, it was press bail. He's going to run an out route. He just converted it, and the guy sat on it. There's really nothing you can kind of do about that. That second one, should have just drove it in there. Corner overlapped, made a good play, but should just reset to the outside guy. But really, other than that, just we can't get behind the sticks, can't have penalties, and they're just simple, correctable errors that we're just kind of learning from, and we're going to keep working on in practice and keep getting better. But like I said before, there's a sense of urgency. We're not satisfied at all.
And lastly, I know the running backs in the second half. I know we talked to you about them preseason, but what did you really see from them? Brooks having some touchdowns, but also Xavier White, I know, set up a touchdown later on with some of his runs. What did you see from those 2 guys in the second half?
Oh, I mean, that's what they've been working on all offseason is that big play factor, those explosive plays, and they've shown out the first 2 weeks. When their number's been called, they've answered it. They're running the ball hard, and it's hard to tackle those guys. So really, whatever it's a 5-man, 6-man box, we feel confident that they're going to make a play when the time is needed. So they did a great job. It obviously helps take a little bit of weight off your shoulders in 3rd and short in some of those situations. So obviously love playing with those guys. We're gonna keep going.
Hey Tyler, obviously Easy's a very good player, so it makes sense you target him a lot. But one of the storylines that's kind of emerged is it seems like he's getting targeted a whole lot, and a lot of the other receivers aren't seeing the ball. Is that something that you're reading, or is it the game plan, or how is that playing out?
I think it's just something part of the reads. I mean, sometimes that's how it plays out. I think early on, obviously it was specifically targeted in some of those screen plays. But really, sometimes it's just how it goes. I mean, obviously, if he's going to get open, I'm going to throw it to him. I can't pass off reads. And other guys have been getting open as well and making plays. So I think that's just a credit to him and how he works, and we're going to keep getting better. So I'm not too shocked by it, but we're gonna be ready for anything and keep working on it.
At one point in the game for the offense, it seemed like you guys really started to speed up that tempo, kind of similar to what you did in Oregon. Do you feel more comfortable in that style of offense, or was that just, the situation that you guys wanted to go a little bit faster?
That was just a situation, I think, with this game. Obviously they struggled getting lined up with tempo, and we had a great feel running the ball. Obviously, I'm comfortable with anything. When you slow it down, you get a good look at it. I mean, they timed up their pressures well. They played a great game, like Coach was just saying. Credit to them. They came ready to play, and we got to execute better offensively. But I think, like you said, the tempo and stuff like that worked well going into the 3rd quarter. So we just got to keep working on it in practice and move on.
Have any other questions for players? Go back down here to Don and close.
Tyler, first half you were the leading rusher, and of course I know you did that a lot last year. How much do you like just the ability to run the football, to run those zone reads and pull it and keep it?
I wouldn't say I like it or dislike it. I'm just doing, whatever it's called for that specific play. I feel comfortable running, if that's what you're asking. Like, I have no problem with it. I feel comfortable out there, getting a first down, getting as much as I can. But really, it's just a credit to the O-line being able to block it up and create those clear schemes. The O-line played great, being able to run the ball for that many yards, when we're not really executing well in the pass game sometimes. And sometimes it's just how it goes. Offensively, you're in a rut or you're off, miss a couple throw, had a drop. But really, we just put it on the backs of those guys, and they played well, and we were able to get out of there with a dub.
Do you feel like you surprise defenses at all with your running ability, or do you feel like there's enough tape of you now that people know that they have to respect your ability to pull it and go?
I'm not sure. I mean, you'd have to ask them. I really just kind of doing whatever it looks, the defense presents itself. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the first down, get a touchdown. So whatever it puts on tape, I'm gonna do what I can.
Can you? I guess it's kind of look like a simple play, but just the first touchdown pass to Eric. Can you kind of take us through that?
Yeah. So he would just kind of had an in route. Basically, they brought that safety, brought the pressure in, so I knew I was gonna have to hang in there and throw it, wait for him to come open. Also, Kuntz was also open. They had struggled passing that off. I just put it out there in front of him, and he did the rest. He took it to the house.
Did you spend any time watching your old teammates today and what they did up in at Ohio
Yeah, a
State?
little bit in the hotel. Obviously, that was a great win for them. But we were completely focused on this game going forward and today really. But it really wasn't too much time. But obviously, you hear about it. So I mean, it's great to see. But we're focused on going forward in FIU right now because we got a lot of work to do.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Hey.